Failure is necessary to the entrepreneurial process. If you're not failing routinely, then you're probably not doing anything new or interesting. I'm Brent Britton. I'm a lawyer at De La Peña & Holiday in Tampa. I'm an occasional entrepreneur, and I'm here tonight to talk about the things that I have fucked up. In non-entrepreneurial focused, land, failure is not necessarily considered a badge of honor, but it is, because that's how you learn. Nobody tries anything new and interesting and just 100% gets it right the first time. And I think that there's a tendency for people not to talk about failure and pretend that it never happened. And the whole point of this event, I think, is to just herniate it out there, man. Get it up in the open and let people know, yeah, I tried this and man, did I blow it. So it's not always fair to compare a place like Tampa to San Francisco and Silicon Valley, but one of the things they do enjoy in the Silicon Valley is an acceptance of failure, okay? Like if you take a bunch of money and you try something and you work really hard and you fail, well, fail big, Let there be a dent in the wall that looks like your face, okay? Because we all appreciate that everybody learns from failure. In places like Tampa, and I dare say much of the rest of the country, we don't necessarily appreciate failure for the learning experience that it should be. There are situations here in Tampa where if you take other people's money and you fail to produce, you better steal out of town in the dark of night, okay? Because nobody's ever going to invest in you again, and everyone thinks that you're kind of, persona non grata. And hopefully we can change that with events like this tonight to demonstrate that sometimes you try and you fail, and that is part of the entrepreneurial tapestry. That's just part of the process. So I'm going to talk about the one thing I did right. I started a company back in the 90s in San Francisco that just shot the moon, and we did everything right. And I've been advising startup companies and entrepreneurs ever since. And I've established, 4 really primary rules that I'm going to talk about tonight. Number one, you can't just have an idea. There's no free lunch. There's no immaculate conception when it comes to companies. Execution is everything. Rule number 2, it's a full-time job, okay? You gotta be there nights, weekends. It's your job, nobody else's. You can't do it part-time. Rule number 3, you gotta validate your market, okay? You can't just go on a hunch, you gotta go on data. You gotta go out and make sure people wanna pay money for the product or service you're trying to sell. If you just think it's a good idea, it might be, but that's probably not enough to guarantee success. And finally, rule number 4 is you gotta sell. Once you get everything done, you built the product, you validated the market, you've got the investors, everything's ready, you gotta go out and figure out how to sell it. Because if you can't sell it, nothing happens at that point. So those are my 4 rules, and I'm gonna demonstrate tonight how in 4 separate startup companies, I've broken each one.